When we think of Peppa Pig, what usually comes to mind are the fun moments when the little pig enjoys time with her family. However, what if we told you that many awful things have already been committed by the characters in this show? One of the biggest troublemakers in Peppa Pig is Mr. Fox, for the simple fact that he is a thief. Even though the show never fully admits it out loud, you can completely tell that Mr. Fox hides this secret. It becomes very clear in the Children's Fete. In that episode, the kids are hosting a fair and selling things to raise money. The money would not be used by them, but rather to fix a leak at the school. Everyone was working super hard, including Emily Elephant, who brought several items to sell. That is when Mr. Fox struck. He went straight to Emily and decided to buy all her items for $0. Since Emily is an innocent little kid, she did not realize she was being robbed. Who has the nerve to trick a little girl like that? Especially because all those items could have earned a lot of money to help the school. Shocking, right? Yet this is only one of the 11 biggest misdeeds you never knew happened in Peppa Pig. Stay tuned because another awesome Cinewave is already on. Peppa should be a role model for the children who watch her show, but this does not always happen. Sometimes she pulls some pretty nasty acts, and her main victims tend to be her own relatives. She has even hurt her younger brother before. Yes, you heard that right. She did that in the episode Snow, where the siblings were having fun throwing snowballs at each other. Everything was fine until Peppa made a giant snowball and just threw it right on top of George, completely flattening him. Since he is still so little and fragile, the poor guy started crying, and only then did Peppa realize how serious her mistake was. At least she regretted it and apologized. Still, it is very likely that George will never forget what happened that day. And you will soon notice that this was one of the few times Peppa actually apologized after doing something wrong. When we think of a father, we usually picture a man who is respected by both his children and his wife. Unfortunately, that is not the case for Daddy Pig, because he is someone who constantly suffers at Peppa's hands. Sometimes the little pig seems to have very little respect for her own dad, and ends up making rude jokes about his weight. Sure, Daddy Pig is kind of round, but every adult male character in the show is drawn with a big belly. So what is the deal with this whole persecution? In the episode where Grandpa Pig builds a treehouse for the kids, Peppa even makes the password to enter be Daddy's Big Belly, and forces Daddy Pig to say the password. Everyone thought it was hilarious, except Daddy Pig, who clearly looked uncomfortable. That is not fair. The worst part is that if it were only Peppa doing this, we could understand it a bit more. She is a kid who might not realize she is being impolite. However, even Mommy Pig and the grandparents join in when it comes to making fun of Daddy Pig. How are the kids supposed to respect him if no one around them sets the example? Time to return to Mr. Fox, because that time he stole from Emily was definitely not his only crime. After all, he owns an entire shop full of all kinds of products, and we believe that all those goods, or at least most of them, were stolen from somewhere else. In the episode Night Animals, Grandpa Pig takes Peppa and George to his chicken coop in the middle of the night. While he is talking, he suddenly spots Mr. Fox standing right next to the coop. If we did not know him, we might think this was just a coincidence. However, we know very well that Mr. Fox is a thief, so he was clearly there to steal the chickens. Fortunately, Grandpa Pig caught him before anything happened, but it seems Mr. Fox has managed to steal chickens in the past, since he pulls one out of his van in another episode. Will he ever learn to be an honest citizen in the future? Or will he only stop stealing when he finally gets arrested? If you would love to see this sneaky bandit exposed in a brand new Peppa Pig episode, comment below. Hashtag Mr. Fox. Besides Mr. Fox, there is another adult in Peppa Pig who does not seem very nice at all. Mr. Wolf is a highly suspicious character, and we notice that when he says something that can easily be interpreted as a hidden message directed at the Pig family. In this case, he asked Daddy Pig what his house was made of. That might sound like a random question, but the sneaky tone he used caught Daddy Pig's attention right away. It really seemed like the wolf was hoping the house would be made of straw, because if that were the case, he could blow it down with just one big breath, just like the big bad wolf does to one of the three little pigs' homes in the fairy tale. Daddy Pig totally understood the hint and said they live in a brick house. Still, after that moment, he will probably sleep with one eye open from now on. Another criminal in Peppa Pig's world is the pirate. He is a thief just like Mr. Fox, but since he is a pirate, his crimes are more focused on stealing treasure and valuable loot. Many shows treat piracy as something fun and exciting, but Peppa Pig does not forget that real pirates are criminals. In Police Boat, the officers are out patrolling, looking for exactly that kind of bandit. And when they finally find him, do you think the pirate turns himself in and pays for his crimes like he should in a situation like this? Not a chance. Instead, he lies and pretends that he is just someone dressed up as a pirate and that the treasure chest behind him is totally fake. The way he quickly shuts the chest right after makes it very clear that the chest is actually stolen. And that was not the only treasure chest stolen by the pirate. In Police Station, the Pig family finds a pirate chest inside the police lost and found. The officers say that nobody has ever come to claim it, and the pirate just happens to walk down the street right in that exact moment. He is obviously the real owner of the chest, but he decided not to go after it. And the reason is that before the chest belonged to him, it belonged to someone else who got robbed. The pirate was afraid the police would discover the truth and lock him up. Little did he know that the cops in Peppa Town are super clueless and incredibly easy to deceive. If you have watched the video up to this point, you already know that not every adult in Peppa Pig's universe is nice, which is a surprising twist for a show made for such little kids. Even in Peppa's world, there are thieves like Mr. Fox, or animals who want to devour others like Mr. Wolf. And Mr. Wolf is not the only one who still keeps a wild side even in this society. The lion who appears in the episode where the kids visit the zoo seems the exact same way, and sometimes he lets his secret slip out when talking to Madame Gazelle, calling her a gnu, which is exactly the kind of animal lions love to eat. He was clearly seeing her as his prey in that moment, not as an equal, and Madame Gazelle definitely noticed that. Friends are people who like each other, sure, but that does not mean the relationship does not have low moments, especially early on. In the case of George and Richard, it took a while for them to become true buddies because they were always arguing. Seriously, there was one time when they built sandcastles, and somehow things escalated very badly. George, for absolutely no reason at all, destroyed Richard's sandcastle, and then Richard got revenge by destroying George's castle too. The result? Both of them burst into tears. No one won in that situation. That moment manages to be tragic and hilarious at the same time. By subscribing, you make sure no new animation content slips by you. Speaking of fights between friends, we can guarantee that Peppa definitely beats George when it comes to that. Even though she loves Suzy, her best friend, they have already had some pretty nasty arguments, and one of the worst happened in the episode The Quarrel, when Peppa accused the sheep of cheating during a game. A lie she told only because Suzy kept winning over and over again. Of course, that ended up turning into a heated discussion, and the fight kept growing so much that they actually stopped being friends. After all, both of them are very proud and hate to admit when they are wrong. The argument only ended when Daddy Pig made both of them apologize at the same time, although it was pretty clear that his daughter was the only one actually guilty in this situation. Another time they fought was in the episode Sport Day, except this time we kind of have to admit, both of them were being a bit ridiculous, starting an argument to decide which one of them was the fastest in a race. They were so mad at each other that they did not even notice the race had already begun, and everyone else was running while the two of them just kept arguing like toddlers. This is another misdeed done by two people against each other that only resulted in both of them getting the worst outcome in the end, with nobody happy. Maybe it is a lesson the show wants to teach us all. Constant fighting usually just leaves everyone sad and hurt. There are no winners in wars. And by wars, we mean arguments between tiny kiddos who still need lullabies every night to fall asleep. Who has never disagreed when deciding what to play? This is another type of childish fight already shown in Peppa Pig, but the real problem here is that the argument made everyone involved act mean. We are talking about Peppa, Suzy, George, and Richard. While the girls wanted calmer games, like pretending to be nurses, the boys only cared about exciting and epic games, like dinosaur battles. And instead of reaching an agreement quickly, both groups kept interrupting each other's playtime and making everything worse. Everything only got solved once the rain stopped and everyone went to jump in muddy puddles together. Yes, in Peppa Pig's world, muddy puddles are truly magical and can fix absolutely any conflict. To keep it going, we've left 2 videos that are totally your style. Pick one and keep watching with us. Thanks, and see you next time.